librarians. Welcome to a spooktacular episode of Facebook Dead. I mean, ha ha ha.
That was a killer joke.
That was wonderful.
Hi everyone. Hello everyone.
Can't hear you.
Oh, okay. It's time to let you into our coven. Christopher, cut the lights!
Oh no.
I need a better scissor!
It's a real horror story. There we go.
Unleashed.
Hiya. Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to our spooktacular Library Love Fest. I'm Virginia Stanley. Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm J.P. Pruitt, the world's most famous hand model. That's who I am. I'm a hand model. I'm reading this quote. I'm a hand model. I can't talk. I'm a hand model, mama. A finger jockey. We think differently than the face and body boys. We're a different breed. This is from Zoolander.
I don't know. Don't tell me. I don't know what you're talking about,
Has anyone seen Zoolander? Then you'll know that you'll get the costume.
I don't remember that, but you make it memorable.
David Duchovny's immortal character.
Blue, what's his name? Blue Steel or something?
J.P. Pruitt. That's Zoolander's book, but that's not the character that
sorry.
This is a very subtle costume as I'm watching it at home. I'm also Chris Connolly. I am Chris Connolly as well. Hello.
Okay. And you are?
I'm Lainey Mays, and I came as a spider today.
Very scary. And very, very
I'm also
fancy.
mourning something. I don't know what.
Oh, so sorry for your loss.
Thanks. It has a lot of legs. I don't know. I don't have a good joke for it.
Oh my god.
All right, I switched over to. I have such a headache. I can't wear that thing all day.
Leave it to Cleaver.
Leave it to Cleaver, Lainey. And
I knew I would redeem myself.
Leave it to Cleaver. That was excellent.
Thank you. I was upset about my spider joke.
Oh.
All
right then. We're drinking. We're
We're moving.
We're drinking from the veins, ladies and germs.
Yes.
So here's to ya. Here's to ya. That scary voice only works if I have that scary mask on. Otherwise, I'm just like somebody ready.
There's a little
type O.
A little spider web in my drink.
Type O. Oh God. That has been around since our last Facebook Live where we drank. So if we all have to make a run for it, you'll understand why.
Cranberry juice. I mean, blood.
Blood. Right.
Blood.
Okay.
Candy and fun things on the table.
Yes, we do. Yes, we have many, many fun things.
Happy Hallows week.
Happy Hallows week, yeah. So we're going to talk about some spooky books. We also want to hear from you guys. And what books are you loving? Past, present, or future? Books that have made your skin crawl and your heart palpitate. I don't know. All right. So here we go. Let's start. Who wants to go first? Oh, I was going to talk about that one. That's hilarious.
Well, so we should tell them that we decided we would surprise each other and spook each other with what books. And we thought about that this morning. We're like, we really hope we didn't bring the same books.
Like, let's not even tell each other what we're talking about.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter. I can go.
I love it.
You want me to go? Okay.
Yeah, also, okay, go ahead.
So I want to talk about Blossom and Bones by Kim Kranz. So you might know her from The Wild Unknown. It's New York Times best-selling book. She writes all of the wild unknown archetypes, tarot cards. She does all of that. She illustrates them, and they're so beautiful. But this is a little different. It still has her unique style and her illustrations, but this is a graphic memoir. Actually, I need it back. Sorry.
Okay.
So it's a graphic memoir, and it all started when she was coming home from a flight, going to LA, and there's just this wellness-obsessed culture there, and she just needed a break. She needed a refreshment, and she was struggling with an eating disorder, and she was struggling with just a lot of things in her life, and she canceled that flight, and instead she sought out a place of refuge, and she decided she was going to do 40 days of drawing the feeling. So she drew what she felt like, and all the things in her. She really confronts on and realigning her relationship with food, addiction, fertility, perfectionism, and just feeling not enough all the time. But it's really beautiful. I got a couple of pages here, and it's just so funky and fun. This one is like, I mean, fun. It's dark topics, but she makes it kind of fun in a way where she's just trying to deal with what's going on. So she did like a when you fill in, what I'm thinking of, when you fill in the, like, name a person, you fill in the blank here.
You mean like Mad Libs?
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like that, but it's more of a statement on how she's feeling. So it's like, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, and it's like, but how could you? How dare you? You have to keep fill in the blank, or else. Or this says, Kim, hold on to yourself and the skeleton story, everything else for now, release. And so she just has these like mantras all throughout it. And like, here's one, it's just a page of little bitty lines of thank you. Like, she has to write it for the teacher. So I would assume they're saying, like, you feel like you just have to go through the motions of saying thank you. And it says, there's nothing else to say, really, thank you. Like, it's just really cool. And it kind of opens it up, and, you know, there's no format that she has to go to. So it's just her thoughts and feelings. Just a lot of meditation, and I think, you know, hashtag self-care, and just learning about yourself. But it has all the bones and cool things in it, so I wanted to bring it today. So that's...
Fit.
What?
Perfect fit.
It is perfect fit. It's very cool.
Blossom and bones.
Blossom.
Drawing a life back together.
Love that. I can't believe I was going to do that one. That's so cool. I love that. All right, Christopher.
Okay. I will talk about The Sea of Lost Girls by Carol Goodman. Let's see if I can twist.
You want me to hold it?
Yeah, that's fine. I
Are you
only have
gonna-
one disposable hand, so...
That's a nut job.
So I remember the first time I read Carol Goodman. I think it was her first book that we published, The Widow's House, which actually won the 2018 Mary Higgins Clark Award. Carol Goodman is a brilliant thriller author. She kind of bounces around. She can do like kind of that gothic horror element, and she does that so well, very much The Widow's House. And she definitely continues that with this book. So this is in the tradition of like Daphne du Maurier, Sherry LaPena. This is about a wife, a mother, who is faced with a shocking and kind of harrowing decision when she discovers her younger son is the suspect in a murder case. So this is about Tess, and she and her husband work at this elite boarding school. And she's married to this guy he's not the father of her son, however. And Rudy, her 17-year-old son, is finally coming around. He had a very dark kind of upbringing. He was prone to violence and, you know, kind of flashes of rage. But he has a new girlfriend, and things seem to be coming around. He's in the school play, and Tess, for once, kind of feels hopeful about things. But things take a very quick turn when she receives a call from her son saying to meet at their secret meeting spot. This is like a spot only she and her son know about, and it's a place they go when things are bad. And so it's 2:50 a.m., late at night, and she meets her son in this secret location, and he says he was just avoiding this party, he was feeling weird, so they go home, and then the next day the police show up, and her son's girlfriend is found murdered very close to where they met that night. So this throws everything into disarray, and you're exploring her son Rudy, and what he's hiding, but you also find out more about her new husband and what part he has to play in this whole thing. Very twisty and fun, but this really kind of creepy, foggy, atmospheric setting as well that Carol Goodman is just so brilliant at. She's just such a good thriller author. Absolutely love it. So, and she's written 21 novels, and somehow she just keeps on getting better. So we're thrilled to have this on our list. It's coming March 3rd. Very creepy, perfect Halloween reading. That's The Sea of Lost Girls by Carol Goodman.
Whoa!
I'd give it 2 thumbs up, but I can't actually put my thumb up in my,
2 jars
in my
up.
protective time machine receptacle. It's so moist.
It
really
is
hot.
so moist. You have to leave it on the entire hour.
I'm going to be pruny, but it's good. It's good for the hand.
He just can't put his finger on why he likes that book. Nah. Okay.
Wait, he could
It's
do
jarring.
He could do 8 legs up or 6
jarring.
legs up.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I can't see what I'm doing now.
It's jarring. 6 legs up. Lainey, yeah, that's it. You give us how many legs up you think our presentation should, our book sound. Okay, so, hey, No Bad Deed by Heather Chavez. This is a debut that has, I have never seen, well, in a long time, I haven't seen a debut thriller get so much love from fellow authors. An entire page of quotes for this book from everybody from Lee Child, Harlan Coben. Anyway, it's kind of a robust lineup of great love for this book. So, it's about a mom who finds herself in a terrible predicament. Starts that she's a veterinarian. She's working late. Her husband's got the kid. He's got their little 6-year-old, and it's gone out trick or treating for them because it's Halloween. You like that? Anyway, so she's driving home this rainy night, and she sees 2 figures, sort of like her headlights shine on these 2 figures, sort of like on the shoulder of the road in the woods. And something had run in front of her, and she wasn't sure what it was. Was it a deer? Was it a jogger? That didn't make sense. She takes a closer look, slows down the car, and she sees that it's 2 people fighting. It's a man and a woman. And he is physically beating her up, this woman. And she doesn't know what to do. She calls 911. They say, where are you? And she just can't stay there in the car. She has to go and help, even though they said stay in the car. And so, because this book grabs you the second you open the page. It's so good because you're right in it. She goes to see what's happening, and he's horrible things are happening. He's beating her up, and he's got a knife, and she says, "I've called 911," and he tells her just back away, and she won't. And then it's raining, and she slides down this little ravine. And now she's kind of caught up in it, and he manages to slice her a little bit with the knife. And he tells her, "You live if you let her die." Like, this is, butt out, basically. And she's a healer. She's a veterinarian, and so she's a healer by nature, and she just can't let this happen. So the cops do come, and he takes off, and this poor thing is, I won't tell you what happens to her, but when they start to question her and like, well, what happened? Why did you, asking her specifics about what happened, as if she may have had something, was involved in some way with this. Finally, they let her go back, and she goes back to her car. Her car is gone. And all of her stuff is in there. And now she's freaking out because it's not far from where she lives. And she keeps telling the police, like, somebody needs to go to the house because all my information is in this car. He'll know how to go to my house, and I can identify him. That sets off the book. And it's so good because you can see you could just see this happening. It's very realistic. It's very, I don't know, all of it rings really true. And then things start to happen with her family, and her husband is missing, and the kid is missing, and she's sure that it all has to do with this. Why did she get out of the car? So I just want to read a couple of things to you. As I said, there's like Lee Child, Peter Swanson. There's just a ton of Liv Constantine, Linwood Barkley, Allison Galen. I mean, these are heavy hitters, and they're all just raving about this book. The marketing director says, "This book is wild. The background's pretty straightforward. I don't know of anything that's not..." Oh, she says, "It scared me so much that I started setting the security system at home." Do you know, when we did the McNamara book, that's what the editor said, that she would set her alarm at home because it was just that creepy. It's kind of like an earworm. It just gets in there.
I wouldn't read it until he was caught.
Oh.
I just couldn't.
Yeah. So that's sort of this. And there's a great article, there's a great interview with this author. She comes from California, and she does characters and scenes very well. She's just very good at what she does, and it's her debut. So that's No Bad Deed. It's coming out on sale in February of 2020. Her name is Heather Chavez, and look for that because it's amazing.
Are we having a special guest show up?
Do you have a friend?
Our special guest is coming to tell you some stuff.
What?
How did I forget?
I don't know.
Special guest,
Yeah,
everyone.
you can
With
come
one
on.
hand.
Come
Where's your
on.
buddy?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, get your friend up. Come on.
we
Oh,
go.
hi. Oh, hi. Do you need some help with your friend?
He's gonna hang around a bit.
Oh, it's gonna hang around.
Whoa!
Sorry.
Price.
It's a look.
You can't
29
buy a brand like this.
That's an expense account that's going to get examined closely.
Hi.
But so worth it.
How are you?
Hi. I like boys with glasses.
All right, what's happening?
Alright, he's tired.
I've got you under my skin.
So this is Earl. He'll be back.
Bye, Earl.
Bye, Earl.
Earl had to die. Do you know that song?
No.
The Dixie Chicks have this song. It's called Goodbye, Earl.
Really?
Earl had to die.
I don't know what's happening.
I
So,
watched
bye,
the,
Earl.
Are You Afraid of the Dark film? Which we published those books. Those were like transformative books for me. If anyone, I'm sure everyone knows
They're
the Are You
very
Afraid of the Dark?
Popular at slumber parties.
Yeah, and the illustrations are so disturbing, and so you can pick up those books now from HarperCollins Publishers. But also the movie was quite fun. For people
Are
to
you
watch.
afraid of the dark?
Or Scary Stories
We
to Tell in the
used to-
Dark. Sorry,
Yeah, Scary
Scary
Stories.
Stories to Tell in the Dark.
We
So
used to read them at slumber parties, and we would get so scared.
Yeah.
It was and they. Oh.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
More books?
I'm going to try and find that video if I can.
Okay.
make
Well,
that
I'm
happen.
gonna go a little rogue
Oh.
and tell you about a book that's already out, but the paperback release comes in January.
Beauty.
So I want to talk about No Exit, and I had to talk about this when I thought about creepy, chilling. Ooh, it's just so creepy, and you're gonna want to talk about it. Like, the paperback release would be perfect for like a book club or whatever, because you want to discuss it. So Taylor Adams, who we met when we were in Seattle, is so lovely, and you're just like, how did you write this book? It's so creepy. But very quickly, it's about a girl named Darby, and she's on her way home from college. She's in the Colorado like mountain area, and she stops at a roadside place to, if there's a storm coming, so she's gonna kind of wait it out for a little bit. And when she gets there, there's these other cars there and 4 other people. And when she goes out to try to get cell phone reception, she looks inside of a van, and there's a little girl in a cage.
Oh, so creepy.
And she's got to figure out, like, what am I going to do? Because she's not really, like, the hero type. She doesn't ever say that she's, I'm not a hero, but she has to decide, like, she can't leave this little girl in the car. So who of these people, who does this car belong to, and who did this? And then it sets in series of steps of all the people coming out and trying to figure out who did what and who she can trust. And then it's cold outside, and it's creepy, and you're going to love it. It's so good. So that's No Exit, Taylor Adams, and you can get the hardcover now. It was a Book of the Month pick last December, but you can get the paperback in January, and you're going to want it. It's great for, like, in the summer, too, if you want to feel cooler. The snow makes you feel really cool. So that's No Exit.
I like that.
Okay. I have a book. It's not scary, but it's scary good.
Ooh.
So
Love the cover.
And the jacket treatment's amazing. So, thank you.
Yes, I haven't seen this. It's pretty.
Yeah, no,
right.
it's pretty.
So this is Motherland by Leah Frankie. And she's so lovely. She recorded a video for us. She was in the office for her debut novel, America for Beginners, which came out, I believe, last year. So this is coming July 14th of 2020. And this, I think, is a slightly lighter, a little bit more commercial novel than America for Beginners, which was still wonderful. But this explores an expat who moves with her husband to Mumbai. And one, it's about, of course, all those like kind of, cultural clashes that happen, misunderstandings when she's kind of thrust into this very unfamiliar environment. She's a wife who's very smart but kind of overly eager to please her husband, who kind of pulled her into this situation. But this is a story basically of her connecting with her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law is a very traditional Indian-born woman who, after 40-odd years, suddenly decides that she's going to leave her husband, which, of course, in this kind of situation, that's highly irregular. It's a huge risk on her part. It's something you don't see very often, but she's looking at her life, and she's just felt that, this was the line in the sand and she had to make a change. So she moves in with her son and with Rachel, her daughter-in-law. And this is a story of Rachel and this mother kind of connecting despite all these cultural differences and discovering very unique and unexpected similarities that they share in life and their relationships. It's so poignant and funny at times, and again, just like great cultural insights. This is kind of a life that Leah's lived herself. She lived in New York and then followed her husband to Mumbai. So she kind of understands that cultural dissonance, kind of, just the struggle to connect with people. And when you desperately want to connect, but you feel isolated because there's this language barrier and cultural barrier. But it is, I think, really this exploration of this relationship with her mother-in-law that's so special and well-written. Just a really lovely, charming, smart book from Leah Frankie. It's, again, Motherland, and it's coming July 14th. So,
I really enjoyed like the immigrant experience the other way around because I feel like we don't get that a lot. It's really beautiful.
It is. Yeah. Like this is a novel I'm really glad I picked
Even their
up,
relationship, you're just like, that's written, like I could so see that happening. It's so like real.
Yeah, there's like that kind of power play at the same time. Even as they are connecting, it's like they're both trying to run this household.
And, like the son in the middle.
Yeah, it's
great.
It's so great. So such a charming, lovely novel. So that's Motherland.
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 It's so weird because from this angle I can see so many things floating on the tops of our glasses of liquid.
Oh, really?
Ew.
Yep. And you know what? That's why we have an immune system. Cheers.
We put that in on purpose. It's Halloween.
Lainey, I love that you bought us candy.
Yes.
Yes.
For those of you watching at home, what's the scariest thing you've read?
Tell us. Are they
Let
talking
us know.
to us?
They're talking to us. Lots of excitement for Motherland.
Good.
No exit. There was a lot of love there.
And what's your favorite Halloween candy?
Yeah, what's your favorite? And what's your favorite costume that you grew up with, that you wore as a kid?
I love that.
Oh.
What was yours?
I was a bug light.
Oh, you told me.
I had like crazy costumes. My parents went all out because they wanted to make them. So one time I was a dye set. Like I had a box. One time I was Laverne from Laverne and Shirley.
I love that.
Had a big L.
So great.
One time I was a bug light. So my dad made me this thing that had, like window looking, but like a zapper, a bug zapper, and I had glow sticks all down on like a hanging. Great. And I would win like every year my costume contest. So and then one year I was like, I don't want a homemade one. My mom was like, you don't understand. This takes a lot of work. But I was like, no. But they were a lot of fun.
That's good. Speaking of Zapper, could you what do you have over there, Lainey? Now this looks like something.
Looks safe.
It looks safe. Now, so Lainey, just put your hand on this. Now, was this like anything that you like the Zapper for your costume?
Kind of.
So when like you wanted to get zapped, then would you just like go like that kind of a costume?
I'll get back to you when I gain the ability to speak again.
I wish we had a mattress so we could pratfall. That'd be amazing.
I just love this crap.
Do you guys have a favorite costume?
Chris, do you want to be electrocuted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm going to electrocute
Not my hand.
Oh, no, don't put it in water.
I can recall now, it's like Frankenstein.
Oh, no. We've lost hope.
Now you can recall the pub date of every book.
I know every ISBN that's ever been published at HarperCollins since 1817 when it was Harper Brothers.
Do you guys have a favorite costume?
Me?
When you were growing up?
I always just went home, put on my father's necktie, put some charcoal on my face and his hat, and I said, see you later.
Oh.
I know. I was happy. What?
I just saw the replay.
The table.
We're not even talking about books right now. All right, back to it. All right, here we go. We'll have more memories and more shocking memories.
Oh, there we go.
As we go along. Okay.
Do you want me to take it?
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. I'm tempted to continue to electrocute you. Is it? Scared the crap out of me.
Sorry.
Scared the bejesus out of me. All right. The Distant Dead. We are fans.
Yes, love.
First, this was called Lovelock. Then it was called East of Eden. Why am I telling you this? I don't know. I always think it's interesting to see the evolution of a book until they have it just right. And boy, do they have it right.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Distant Dead. Now, I don't have a jacket of this one, right, Lane? I got this.
Yeah, just
This is the author photo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the author photo. This is Heather Young, who wrote The Lost Girls, which people loved. That was her first book. And this is set in Nevada, and it is about a murder that takes place in this small town that everybody knows everybody's business. It's tiny. So first you meet this woman, Nora, who is living at home with, she's got her father there's a story. He is old. He is not well. She cares for him. Life has, I think, sort of passed her by. Something horrible has happened that you learn fairly early on in the story. Then you switch over to this, and she's a teacher in the local school. And then you switch over and you meet this young boy who happens upon a charred body on his way from school, from home to school. And so I'm not ruining anything by telling you, because this happened so early on in the book, that this is the body of the math teacher in school. And he's only been at the school for about 7 months. He's a transplant from another area. And he's come, and he actually befriended this young boy because his parents are not in the picture, and he is being raised by his uncles who are, they're tough customers. It's just terrible. It's a terrible existence, but they are his family, and so he is under their care. And when he gets to school, he feels very out of place at this new school, and this math teacher takes him under his wing, and he's shown him kindness, and he feels safe with him. And because he's very much an outsider, he doesn't have anything, doesn't have any money, and he's being raised by these guys who everybody knows. There's got a long family history of just bad stuff going on with this family. So, but then we find that this teacher who befriended him, been so kind to him, this kid stumbles upon the remains of his body, and he's been burned to death. And so that sets up the story, because the woman at the beginning, Nora, who is living with her dad, and things have gone on, and she's a teacher there, she immediately knows when the math teacher doesn't show up for school that something is up, because it was Pie Day, and he said when in his old school he used to always bring pie and surprise the kids because it was Pie Day, and so she thought it was very sweet. And then when he doesn't show up, she's sure that something has gone wrong, and then of course the authorities come to the school to say what's happened. That's the beginning of the book. And there are connections throughout, and the kid isn't, they all are pretty sure that the kid is not saying everything that he knows. There might be more to that story than just innocently coming upon this horrific scene. So good, so atmospheric, such a great writer. It's twisty, it's turny. You love it?
I loved it. Yeah, the kid especially. Like, it's always when you could write a character like that and put him in tough situations to still make it a novel you want to return to and follow his journey. But it is a great just thriller on its own as well, as you're trying to figure out what exactly happened here. You compared it to something, I forget what you...
I compared it to Willie Vlotton.
Yeah, which I
compared it to Willie Vlotton. That's what I thought of when I read this. It was like, I'm in Willie Vlotton land, who we adore.
Yeah.
That's sparse and very atmospheric and not a happy story, but characters that won't let you go.
Yeah.
So, or you won't let them go. And then there's just like a bigger picture about this town, which is sort of what happens in Willie's land a lot of the time. And there's an opioid, crisis going on, and it's, as they say, it's a small town and not a lot of money, and the mining is sort of drying up, and so there's a lot going on. It's very, very smart. So that's called The Distant Dead. What else can I tell you? I don't know. It's just great. It's a terrific mystery, and it's just beautifully written. And that comes out on sale in June of 2020, The Distant Dead by Heather Young.
Fantastic.
I don't know why I'm talking like that. Perhaps because I have a knife in my head.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help.
It doesn't help, All right, somebody else go while I try and find out what I'm talking about.
I don't remember what the order was.
Well, whatevs. It's, free country.
Okay, we have another creepy thriller that, I mean, it's not the same as No Exit, but I feel like the cover really reminds me of it. It's a creepy, I don't know if you can see it, but look it up if you can't. There's like, it's an overview of treetops. It's very creepy. It kind of reminds me of the Hunting Party cover by Lucy Foley, which is a great one. You should check that out too. So this is Sanctuary by Luca D'Andrea. There we go. And so he's Italian, and so this is already a big bestseller there, and it comes over here, and everyone's so excited for it. And in this story, it's in the Italian region of Alto Adige, and it's like this creepy mountainy, up high, creepy place with like snow and very like fairy tale-esque, where you could get lost there easily. And there's a man who, ever since World War II, he's moved there, and he's become this black market crime organization head, and everyone fears him. He owns everyone, the police, and the politicians, and his wife, Marlene. And Marlene has had enough. She's ready to go. So she leaves him, and he sends some of his best men to go find her. And there's one man who is going to go after her, and it's kind of, I think of like Snow White and the Huntsman in a way. Like, he will do anything to find her. He doesn't care, he's kind of soulless. But then her husband finds out that she's actually pregnant. So what does that mean on this cat and mouse chase, and how does it work? But like I said, very fairy tale-esque, where someone's on the run, and there's good and evil in play, and it's so fun and chilling, and just a great thriller, a great perfect setting, because Luca knows this place really well. He's from Italy, and he's just really dropped you into this setting. It's so fun, and it comes out in January as well.
I read the first one, Beneath the Mountain, and this is, I think, the same territory. And he's really great with setting, like you said, like it's this looming, mysterious, isolated area where it's just a great setting for thrillers. And so
Cool.
yeah, all
right. So I'm gonna try and pull this up, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it or not, but this is an older book that we published in 2013.
If you send me that link, I'll share it with everyone.
Oh, yes, I will. Hang on one moment. Forward it to Chris Connolly.
We're emailing live on Facebook. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is Help for the Haunted. I think this is the paperback cover. This is John Searles. This came out years ago when Library Reads, the inaugural list came out. The inaugural Library Reads list came out. This book was on it, Help for the Haunted. And he is, I mean, we love him. His is really, really twisty, psychological, and creepo books sometimes. This one is so great. And there's a video that we made, and I would love to show it to you. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. I'll make it big.
Link for John Searles' video. I'm sharing it with everyone watching.
John Searles, I'm author of Help.
Hang on 1 second. Just because I think it's super cool. The video itself. First he says a little thank you to librarians, and then there's this really cool video and creepy, and I just want you to see it. So
it's a great Gillian Flynn quote.
I know. Oh, you kidding me? He's got quotes of the yin yang. Oh, his poor yin yang. All right, hang on a minute. Here we go. Now, I hope you can hear it. And ask people.
Hi, my name is John Searles. I'm author of Help for the Haunted, and I want to thank all the librarians out there who picked my book among all the other great selections on the inaugural Library Reads September 2013 list. Thank you so much. I love all of you, and I send you a big kiss. With Help for the Haunted, I wanted to tiptoe up to the edge of what's possible and what's believable in terms of the paranormal. There's so many moments like that in the book where the characters, and I hope the reader, is left wondering what the truth of the situation is. The novel is told from the point of view of Sylvie Mason, who's a teenage girl growing up in a small suburb outside of Baltimore. And her parents have a very unusual occupation in that they help haunted souls find peace. One night they receive a phone call, and they're lured to an old church on the outskirts of town. I very much wanted Help for the Haunted to be page turner, so I ended the first chapter with both of Sylvie Mason's parents being murdered. And what keeps people reading, I hope, is trying to figure out who killed the Masons. The novel moves back and forth in time between the years leading up to the night of the murder and then the fall following the murder. It's Halloween, which is one of my favorite holidays. I kind of wanted the story to be imbued with that eerie, creepy, but also beautiful feeling. In Help for the Haunted, I definitely wanted to have those moments where you turn the page and something so scary or surprising or shocking happens that you feel a chill up your spine. But I also wanted to have that feeling of those lingering regrets that people have about choices they made or dark paths they went down in their lives, because I think both are things that haunt people. Sylvie Mason, she's really smart beyond her years, with a real curiosity about the world, and she's determined to find out the truth of what happened the night her parents died.
The music's haunting.
Isn't it?
Wow, yeah.
Ah, it's so good. So of course that video, and so I hope you could see it. Mae West interview with Dick Cavett. Let's watch that next.
Why not? I shared the link, so if you couldn't see it, just click the link in our comments, and
Yeah.
it's there for you. So.
Let's turn that off and pretend nothing happened. All right. Thanks, Lainey. Yeah, he's terrific, and as I say, that was 2013. But if it was not on your radar for whatever reason, God, just started reviewing School Library Journal, Publishers Weekly, Washington Post loved it, Entertainment Tonight. I mean, there are pages of raves about this thing because it was so creepy, and I remember reading it late into the night one night, and oh my God, I'm not one of those people that gets really freaked out too much about scary stuff. But even my cat and I both looked at each other at the same time. I was like, "Oh, did you hear that too?" It was very, and I'm not even lying. That truly happened. So yeah. So John Searle's Help for the Haunted, which went on sale back in 2013, and just check it out. I don't know. That's all I want to say about John Searles because I love him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, what did I say? Strange but True. Oh, so one of the other books that he did was recently made into a film called Strange but True, which was really good. And it was with Blythe Danner, Greg Kinnear, Brian Cox, and it's about a family that loses their son in a tragic accident in high school, and his girlfriend comes back 5 years later, and she's pregnant, claiming that it's his. Figure that one out, and it's really good. Book's really good, movie's really good. That's called Strange but True. That was just out in September. John Searles is wonderful. Okay. Who's next?
All right. I'll go. All right. I'm going to be talking about a good friend of the library team and librarians in general, Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst. Thank you very much. We love Sarah Beth Durst. She's at a lot of our conferences. Again, just a wonderful advocate for the genre and for libraries. She's wonderful and just an imaginative powerhouse. So this is great because this is a standalone, new characters, new world, separate from kind of her Queens of Renthia series, for which she won an ALA Alex Award. And this also has great like YA crossover. It's fast-paced, really fun, action-packed fantasy novel. And it takes place in Bakar, which is this world where it's pretty much accepted that depending on how you live in life, you're going to be kind of reborn in a form that reflects your good deeds or bad deeds. So you might come back as a hawk or a heron or something worse if you're a bad person. And you can change your destiny. There's people who you employ to kind of tell you what path you're on, and then you can thus change your path with good deeds in this life or, of course, bad deeds. And a big part of this universe is there's these monsters called K-Hawks, who they're basically people who are the worst of the worst, and they're reborn as these grotesque creatures, these K-Hawks, which look and they look all like very different forms depending, but they're all kind of monsters. They're mixes of kind of like griffins you can think of, that kind of thing, or if you can see the jacket there. But if you're born as a K-Hawk, again, you were a bad person. And a big part of the society is K-Hawk riding. So only the bravest, most reckless people will ride these beasts for glory. And so you have this woman, Raya, who is kind of desperate to escape from her domineering family, and her path crosses with Tamra. And Tamra is this like really hard-nosed K-Hawk rider trainer. she used to be like the best of the best at riding these beasts, and then something happened. She injured herself, and now she trains people. And she's looking for a break because she has to pay for her daughter's schooling, and she's very close to not being able to. She'll be separated. So she's on edge. But she's such a wonderful, tough character who's very like tender inside. But these two, their paths cross, and basically Tamara decides to start training Raya to become the next like great K-Hawk rider. And of course there's forces at play within the society. Maybe this whole rebirth thing isn't exactly what it appears on surface level. Just really great world building, and again, great characters as well, just very believable, relatable characters. But again, just the imagination that goes into these novels, so mind-blowing. Just a lot of fun. This is a world you can get lost in very quickly. So we always love Sarah Beth Durst, and this is an exciting novel that we have on our list. It's coming April 21st. That's Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst.
And for all of the Reader's Advisory librarians out there, we have a really great podcast that just came out all about sci-fi and Harper Voyager and what it is and what's coming, and their move to have more inclusivity in their books. And I sat down with David Palmerico, who's the editorial director at Voyager, and he talked about this book too. So if you want to hear the editor talk about it, that's a great place to go. But also if you just want an overview of sci-fi, if you love it or you don't know much about it, either one, go to our podcast on SoundCloud.
That is a great interview, by the way. It's about 20, 25 minutes, and it's such a great conversation that these guys have about sci-fi, fantasy, romance crossover. It's so interesting to hear him talk about it, and just, I highly recommend go listen to that. It's really cool. Our podcast is the bomb diggity.
It's so good, it's scary.
Oh! How are we doing on time? 11:12. Lady, do you want to go next?
I have one more. So
go ahead.
All
I
right.
have one more, and then a little mention of something.
So I want to do something at the end a little more light, because we're talking a lot about scary stuff. But I loved this one, and also, it kind of has a connection because it starts with your worst nightmare, getting left at the altar. So this is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa, and everybody loves Mia Sosa. She knows romance, she writes so well, and she this is a new format for her. So she does EPUB for us, but this is going to be trade paperback, and it's a rom-com. We're so excited to add it to our list of really great rom-coms coming up, and she, Mia herself, identifies as Afro-Latinx, so she's Brazilian and Puerto Rican, and this one is an own story. An own voices story itself. The heroine is Brazilian American, and so we get a little inclusivity as well, which I always point out, and I hope you guys aren't tired of me pointing out, but I think it's important when we're talking so much about it to say when we're doing it well. And this is so fun. She includes so much Brazilian culture in here, and you just learn so much. The main character, Lena, she's a wedding planner, and she's been left at the altar about 5 years ago, and she blames it all on the ex-fiance's brother, because he comes to tell her he's kind of left with this charge, and he has this text message from his brother that's like, "You're right, everything you said was right, and I've got to leave, I can't do this." And so he has to go tell her because he won't answer his phone, and so of course she's like, "It's your fault." And so she hates him. And then 5 years later, she is working as a wedding planner. She's kind of still licking her wounds from that. And she has to go up to this big project for a hotel. And guess who's the other team working with her? She has to work with her ex-fiance and his brother. So she's like, well, the ex-fiance is not going to work with me. So she takes the brother, even though she's like, I'll use the hate to forward how good this project's going to be. And, of course, they decide maybe this hating game that they're playing is maybe not all the feelings they're feeling. But like I said, really great cultural aspects throughout. Our family owns this bakery, this little store. So you get all the good food and all of the dancing that they have, and in the end, it's kind of an immigrant story from her parents doing and their successes. So check it out. It's really fun. The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa.
The Worst Best Man.
And it's out in February.
I want to make a quick mention about The Woman in the Window. Yeah. Perhaps you've heard of this book. I'm digging deep into our backlist. Well, not that much of a backlist. That's A.J. Finn's book, which I'm sure by now you're all well aware of the story behind that. And it's about a woman who lives in the upper Manhattan, and she is an agoraphobe. She can't go out of the house. Something's happened that has rendered her sort of paralyzed with fear at the idea of stepping outside. And so she lives her life drinking a lot, watching a lot of old black and white Hitchcock movies, and looking out the window and watching life pass her by. And then she sets her sights on new people that are moving in across the street, and she becomes convinced that something is not quite right over there. And that is all I will say, because I know that you know what this is about. What I want to tell you is that the paperback, the trade and the paperback are on sale 330. Went on sale 331. Will go on sale 331, and the movie is going to be out in May 2015. So right?
May 2020.
May 15th, 2020.
Oh yeah, okay.
May 2015. Time War.
Let's do the time.
May 15th.
That's
May 15th, 2020. Can't wait. So I just wanted to let you guys know
Yeah,
that, because
that's
it's going to
big
be
news.
so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
I can't wait for that.
Very
Great
cool
cast.
book.
Yeah.
Very
Great cast.
yeah, great cast. Some people got to go and watch that movie get filmed. How fun!
What?
I know, not us though. That's all right.
Don't they know who we are?
Whatever. Like you never.
We would bring our props.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of props. Okay, ready? Brain eating zombie. God, I love Rite Aid.
Oh.
Okay, I love that. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, there's so many cobwebs.
So many cobwebs. Okay, very quickly, I'm going to mention 2 books, and I'm done. Do you have more what to do?
One more book.
One more book. Okay, The Dead Wife. This is Sue Fortin. She's USA Today best-selling author of The Girl Who Lied, Sister, The Birthday Girl. So we have The Dead Wife. And this is the first time that we'll be going simultaneously with the United Kingdom for print, ebook, and audio. And this is about a woman who has been, who was found drowned in the lake of this family's holiday park. Very hotsy-totsy. Police ruled it out as anything, funky, nothing suspicious. It was an accident. But 2 years later, after the case has been closed, a reporter gets a tip, and it could be the scoop of the year. So she starts digging deeper into this case, and it is now no longer a cold case. And there's a big secretive thing going on in the Sinclair family. So she's, this is going to be big. This is just gone on sale, so October 1. So keep an eye on that. The Dead Wife. All right. Who's next?
All right. Last book for me. It's been real fun, y'all.
Y'all.
So, I'm going to talk about Black Mad Wheel by Josh Malerman. This book has been on sale for a while. You'll know Josh Malerman. He wrote Bird Box, which was a Stoker Award-nominated novel. Of course, it was also turned into the Netflix movie starring Sandra Bullock, which was,
Close your eyes!
insanity.
Close your eyes!
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so,
Crazy great.
so crazy. Now, Josh is a musician, which I think is important to note because many of his novels, if you have seen or read Bird Box, deal with sound and kind of like how the mind processes that and putting it into words. And this follows suit. So this follows this band, the Danes, and specifically their lead man, Philip. And the Danes are in Detroit. They used to be like this big-time rock band, but now they're kind of washed up, not much going on. And they received this job opportunity from the U.S. Army, which is highly strange, but it pays well. And they're looking to send this band to this African desert where there's this report of these kind of malicious, deadly sounds. They don't know what's causing them. The effects are very strange. It kind of causes hysteria and physical pain and hallucination. And again, they don't know what's causing it. So they enlist the help of this band, and Philip and his band take the job because they need the money. And they go to this African desert, and they very quickly devolves into this almost like fever-pitched dream where they're confronted by these sounds, they start seeing things, and this job is not all that it appears. You also follow this nurse who's working in this kind of nondescript Midwest hospital, and she's trying to heal this man who comes in with like his entire body just shattered and broken. It's just shocking that he's even alive. But for some reason, he seems to be healing at this like impossible rate. And somehow these two cases, this band, the Danes in Africa, and this nurse in the Midwest, it's interrelated, and it's kind of conspiratorial. It's just so many twists, and it's so strange. And I think the way that Josh utilizes music to and sound to describe kind of the effects, it's so visceral, and just I think no one writes sound better. I know that's a weird statement, but it's
cool.
True. Like Josh just has this way to really talk and write about sound, and just, very affecting. So I'm just going to read this quick Library Journal Star review. In a genre not known for restraint, Josh Malerman's uncluttered prose evokes awe and terror. Readers of weird atmospheric fiction with a conspiratorial bent will enjoy Malerman's latest offering. So it's so cool and terrifying. Like you're gonna be in it. You're gonna be in it. So
yeah,
highly recommend.
Black Mad Wheel.
Yeah, you can get it now.
And the last book I'm going to talk about went on sale in September. It is The Last Seance by Agatha Christie. Perhaps you've heard of her. Tales of the Supernatural. So this is 20 stories featuring sort of, stories about the occult and the paranormal. Some stories feature Hercule Poirot, others Miss Marple, and there's a new story that has never been released in the United States. So they've pulled together some really classic Halloween-esque stories that will, send the shiver up your spine. So that's The Last Seance. It went on sale September 24th, and it's Agatha Christie. Very exciting about the never-before-published book in the United States. Now, we do have some time. Have people been telling what they are reading or what makes them scared?
Yeah, let's see. Casey Davis says Josh Malerman is one of my favorites. Lots of Sue Fortin love. Let's see. Scariest things. Let's see. So many great comments. People just loving the experience. Butterfly Girl, Renee Dempsey.
Oh, yes. So good. And Child Finder. Did you read Child Finder? Read Child Finder and then read Butterfly Girl, and she's amazing. Yeah. Pacific Northwest writer. It's so good. And boy, does she get atmosphere.
Let's see.
So
Lillian Dabney, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Classic. Kelly Fletcher Sullivan, Nosferatu and Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. Good choice. Cheryl Maschiarelli says Whisper Man, which I'm not...
Whisper Man.
Whisper Man. I haven't heard of Whisper Man.
I hope we didn't publish it.
No.
Did we? Whisper Man. Cheryl, what is that? You've caught us off guard.
Tell us, Cheryl.
Tell us if you're still there, otherwise we'll look it up and talk about it next time.
Casey Davis, The Shining and It by the Stephen King guy.
Red Rum. Wait a minute.
Let's see. Elevator Pitch, Linwood.
Elevator Pitch. You may go up slowly, but you come down fast.
Alex North.
A lot of love for No Exit, too.
Of course. No, Macmillan. We love them. Are my eyes in the right place?
Yeah, well, kind of.
I got a little cockeyed.
All right.
Well, anything else we want to say? We have a few moments. Christopher, what was your favorite costume as a kid? Maybe it was Bud Light.
I was Grumpy Bear from the Care Bears.
Aww.
So my mom made it for me.
Do you have a picture?
Yeah,
I'd love to see pictures of
That's
both
so
of
cute.
you. Lady?
I loved Grumpy Bear.
I think that we should buzz ourselves out. Let's electrocute ourselves.
All right.
Because we feel like
These
this
books
is
are shocking.
these books are shocking, and we find you all so electrifying. Oh, that's a good one. Go ahead, Chris. Pretend that you're going to turn it on.
Why pretend?
Everybody get ready to get shocked.
All right.
Ready? And that's going to have to go up.
All right.
Okay. So listen, thanks so much for listening.
Thanks so much for listening, little ladies and boys.
To me when I put this mask on.
The mask is in control.
The mask is in control.
Oh, good movie.
Oh, imagine if I could never take it off. I can't take it off. All right, that was just a tester.
Oh.
Yeah, no. All right, well, thank you so much for. One of you guys say goodbye. I can't talk.
Have a very happy Halloween, and thank you for joining us. And we hope you enjoy these spooky reads, and they'll be up on the blog so you can find a list.
I hope they chill you to your bones.
We hope they electrify you. Goodbye!